Welcome back to the Maven Show. This is your host Rohit. Today we have Charles Fry, the founder and the CEO of CODE Exitos and investor. Thank you, Charles, for getting into the show.
Yeah, happy to be here. Let's get it on. Let's do it.
Awesome. So we will be diving in talking about a bunch of stuff to be how to be a successful tech entrepreneur with a technical knowledge. So you've been specialized into that. So would you just like to give a quick intro of you first, how you got started, how you've been into and how long you've been into this?
Well, I've been at it for a long time, Rohit. I've been at this for about 30 years, and right out of university, the University of Michigan, I started my first tech company and been doing it ever since. I was trained as a scientist. I knew how to program. This was back in the late 1980s. And so I was an engineer. I was a technical person when I started a technical company. And then over the years, I've been involved in quite a few startups. Some of them have been venture-backed. Some of them have been bootstrapped, all kinds of transactional work. Today, CODE Exitos, we're a product development studio. So we work with other entrepreneurs who want to build and launch a digital product, software, hardware, IoT-related products. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs coming to us now that are not technology-oriented entrepreneurs, but they've identified a market, they've got a great idea or an idea that they believe in, and they need a technical team to help them build and launch the product. Could be a SaaS platform or a mobile app or any of those kind of things. And so this is what we do at CODE Exitos. We function as the technical design and production resources for entrepreneurs who aren't programmers, who aren't engineers, and it's a lot of fun. So we get to see a lot of people who wouldn't consider themselves to be technologists or software engineers who are very successful at launching products. So, yep, that's what we're doing.
Awesome. So you were already an entrepreneur. How you got started with the entrepreneurship?
So this might be hard for you and a lot of your listeners to believe, but for when I started, it was not interesting to be an entrepreneur. It wasn't a cool thing to do. In fact, there was no internet. I know that's hard to believe for some people, but it was before the internet existed. So if you imagine 1987 or 1988, we had mail. We didn't even really have mobile phones. Cell phones weren't pervasive yet. So we had mail and we read magazines, and the magazines like Inc. magazine and Forbes, Wired hadn't come out yet. They lumped entrepreneurship into small business. And so it was, for most people, it was the same as if I would have opened a barber shop or an auto repair store. I was just another version of a small business that happened to be some sort of like weird computer thing. That's how tech entrepreneurs got started in the US. And then, I don't know, I had good mentors and I made a lot of mistakes, and I managed to learn from some of those mistakes. And then one day it seemed like everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I wasn't quite sure what happened, but
awesome.
it has been a roller coaster. It's been an interesting 30 years.
You guys are now, you have already seen we guys are entering into the Web3. And Web3 is booming. Blockchain is booming at this time. What would you like to speak about the blockchain and Web3 in nowadays?
Yeah, well, Web3, which is sort of underpinned by blockchain. So if you think of blockchain as a fundamental technology, we've had and will continue to have waves of fundamental technology that become commercially viable. All right. So blockchain started out as a white paper and kind of a theoretical idea. And then the more people worked on it, the more they said, wow, there's commercial opportunity here. So Web3 is really all of the things that are growing out of that blockchain technology. We think it's ready in some applications. There are some applications for it that it's the right technology. There are a lot of applications that it's not the right technology. So we help our clients figure out, you don't want to add a piece of technology just to catch a buzzword.
Yeah.
But for some applications, it's really fundamental to the way they want to have their product work. And then Web 5 is our take. I think it's a growing trend. We didn't create this term, but the concept of Web 5 is that we have traditional Web 2 technology, like login, username, password, mobile apps, etc. And it's fused with Web 3 technology without all of the cryptocurrency, hash codes, all that stuff. So the user experience seems very normal, but the underpinning technology is in Web 5. And so we're really excited about that fusion of the fundamental technology into an everyday user experience.
But do you think how long will it take to have a Web 5 experience?
I think we're still figuring it out, to be honest with you. We have a product that we're developing. It's still secret, so I can't tell you too much about it. We do a lot of work that's confidential, but this entrepreneur came to us about a year ago, had a very interesting idea that he wasn't thinking about Web3 and crypto technology, but the more he discussed what his objectives were for his product, the more we needed the technological attributes of blockchain underneath. And so the problem was we wanted to be a widely adopted consumer application. So all the people that are early adopters of crypto are used to doing things like having wallets and setting up, passwords and passphrases and hash codes. And we didn't want any of that complexity. So we started about a year and a half ago. It's been about a year and a half, working through how to hide all of the complexity of blockchain behind it, more traditional web and mobile apps, so that the user doesn't have to even know that they're leveraging or using Web3. So we've been at it about a year and a half, I'd say. And since then, we've had other projects come up, and it continues to evolve.
And what do you think, like how the Web 2 and Web 3 will revolutionize the Web 5?
Well, I think that for most people, it's going to be a progression of capabilities that they have. Things like immutable identities, the ability to prove between parties, to prove that you are who you are, that you did the things that you say you do. Let's take a really simple example. Look at LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn and you look at someone's profile on LinkedIn, they tell you everything that they did.
Yeah.
But you don't really know that it's true. I mean, you just know that they said that, so I could have gone in there and said that I'd been the former subdirector of NASA, and who would know? I wasn't. But with blockchain, you can start to make those things provable, right? So I think we're going to start to see a lot of features and capabilities getting released that rely on the special technical attributes of blockchain.
And what do you think? Like, see, specifically me, I am also entering into the Web 3 for sure next year. What do you think? Like, what are the core things which every creator of NFT, or creator of anything into blockchain would should know, like to get into the Web3, to get the successful project launched or getting a success from the market? So what's the core things you think works best?
Well, the cool things, and that's right, you and I had talked about your NFT project.
Yeah.
NFTs are really, really amazing. We've done a number of NFT projects, and we've done some where we've applied NFT technology into video games and virtual reality settings, which is really sort of that's like way out on the front edge of things. I would always keep, when you're thinking about your NFTs, I would always keep your user in mind, your end user in mind, and make sure that you're applicable and accessible and usable to the audience that you want to have for your product. I think right now in the early phase, I've seen a lot of NFT projects, for example, that require actually quite a bit of understanding about how to manage NFTs, how to have wallets, how to transfer, how to do all of that sort of stuff. And that's fine if your NFT product is targeted toward a sophisticated crypto audience. But if you want widespread adoption, you're going to have to think about, well, how would somebody use this on their phone without downloading a whole bunch of stuff and learning a lot of new terms and phrases and that sort of stuff? So always keep the user, you always have to keep the user at the center of your product development process.
Like user experience works the best, like the most.
100%. I mean, if the user experience is bad or worse, you won't get adoption. You won't get traction. You know, you'll have 10,000 NFTs. You'll get a couple hundred of them sold, and then it'll stall. And I've seen this. We've seen projects do this, and it usually comes back to that. There's two things are the problem. The first big problem is it's just too complicated to figure out how to get, keep, and trade the NFT because there's not simple user experience. The second big problem we see is there's just not enough value for the person to care about having the NFT, frankly. And so if you think about the value and the value to the end user, that has to offset the trouble it takes them to figure out how to use it, how to buy it, how to sell it, etc. It can be done. There are a lot of people doing it, and there are a lot of good reasons for NFTs to exist. But a lot of the ones that we're seeing fail in their launch, we haven't had any projects that have been outright failures at launch. Some have underperformed, and it's just because the customer didn't see enough value in going through the hassle, I guess, the hassle factor of using it. So those are the things I think anybody should keep in mind if they're looking at an NFT or a crypto project is what's the user experience like and how can I make it so easy that the value of my idea comes through and is accessible to the user.
Even though, what would you like to speak about those guys? You know, like there are a bunch of NFT projects in the market which are booming. CryptoPunks was the one. PAYC guys are still doing the best. Next is Doodles is doing the best. Then we have VFriends is doing the best. What the specific core these guys have, which other NFT floppers don't have, you know?
Great questions. And I suppose if I knew that with a lot of accuracy, I'd get rich in NFTs myself. But
yeah,
I think that because the market's new, there's a fairly big portion of those products' success is attributed to being first. It's what we used to call the first mover advantage. So if you're the first or one of the first few people to the market, customers are going to put up with more complications of getting your product because it's first and it's the only one out there. You know, it's you or a few other people. As the market matures, value and quality and experience come back into play. And I think all of those ones you mentioned do those things really well too. I mean, they've developed a community and a marketplace. They have raving fans. They have people that want to trade them. There's a sense of scarcity, but it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work, and you have to get a lot of things right and go through very fast change cycles. And I think that's what they're doing right in those particular instances that you mentioned.
So you are already been into tech entrepreneurship, telling what do you think? What would you like to speak specifically about, like how to be a successful tech entrepreneur, even without a technical knowledge?
Well, yeah, I think it is actually the same as being a successful business of any sort. You could look at really any business in the world and ask yourself what makes them successful versus other people that tried the same thing that aren't successful. There was actually a very interesting book written back in I think it was in the 1990s. It was called Good to Great. And it was an extremely popular book. And what the author and his research staff tried to do, Jim Collins is the author. And what they did is they surveyed a lot of publicly held companies where they could get, financial data. And they asked themselves, why do these one or two companies, why are they so much better than all their other competitors? So if you think of a type of business, I don't know, a personal computer business, right? There were many, many, many dozens and 50, 100, I don't know, personal computer companies, but a few of them were just so much better than everyone else. Dell, Apple, IBM, and they're the ones that are still around. And so the question was, what did they do differently? And I think that's all of those things are probably more important for tech entrepreneurs to understand, or at least as important as just the pure technology that drives their business. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say that you want to have a mobile app based business. You have an idea for a mobile app. I don't know what it is. Doesn't matter. What language the mobile app gets written in largely doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Your customer doesn't care. Your employees aren't going to care. It's not going to change the world. So in that case, that part of the technology makes no difference whatsoever. And that's why we're seeing so many tech entrepreneurs without tech backgrounds being successful in what looks like technology businesses, because they understand how to get great employees. They understand how to take care of their customers. They've identified the product market fit. They've done all of the things right. And then the technology sort of solves itself. I don't know if that makes sense, but the technology is a way to get your business built and launched, but it's not, rarely is it essential to the fundamental success of the company.
What advice would you like to give to any early entrepreneur getting into entrepreneurship, even getting into the tech entrepreneurship, or just as a entrepreneurship? Is it easy?
Advice.
Is it easy for you?
I don't know anything else. I mean, I would probably be the world's worst employee if some big company gave me a job, because I've never done that. I'm 58 years old. I've never had a job for somebody else. I think that the advice that I would give for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur is to be really sure that it's a lifestyle that you want. It's not for everyone. It's not bad. Obviously I like it, and I've supported my family and made lots of friends and had a good time. I love the work that I've done. But it's different, and I have friends who work in, say, a Fortune 500 company, and one of my son-in-laws, he works for a company, and it's a very successful company, and he has a great job. And every year he kind of knows how to get his review and get his raise, and he's got a successful career going. But how that works is a mystery to me, because it's a big multinational company, and it has a different set of rules, and they lead a different lifestyle. So I think for entrepreneurs or people who are thinking about being an entrepreneur, my advice would be, or my first piece of advice would be, make sure this is really how you want to spend your life, because you'll make choices in your life, and your work sort of get mushed together. So you have to like it, right? And the ups and downs, you mentioned a roller coaster, the ups and downs. I think people in big companies have ups and downs, but they're different than the ups and downs that entrepreneurs have. So talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, ask what their life's been like, see if it's kind of lifestyle that you want to live. That would be my advice. It's easy to look at somebody like Elon Musk and say, oh, I want to be like that. I don't know that I want to be like that, but when you're fabulously wealthy, everything else sort of, it solves for everything else.
Yeah.
But most I'm not I've been a career entrepreneur. I'm not fabulously wealthy. I have a comfortable lifestyle. I mean, my family we're fine. But there've been hard times, so
Yeah.
I think you have to look at the lifestyle. That's my advice.
And it's obviously not easy for the early years, at least 5 years if you're getting started from scratch, to be honest, according to me.
No, it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
I still remember we don't even like die hard friends was even something which is coming from my friendship. When I was busy with my own projects into Mavenwit and growing this company now, so I was missing all my things, like what I did, and I going, and this is coming out. So lost friendships, lost like staying away a lot from family, and then nothing been into relationships, just working 12 to 16 hours a day, been with people, no weekend, no trip, no will. So this was something really 2 to 5 years special.
Yeah, those things are real. I mean, I have my version of those experiences, and I think most entrepreneurs that start something share those experiences. But again, I don't think that it's better or worse than a corporate job or being a doctor or being an attorney. I just think it's different. And so if you're aware of the differences and you make a conscious choice, then it can be okay.
Cool, Charles. Well, thanks for being on the show. It was amazing to
Happy.
talk. It was amazing to talk to you. Like I got a lot to listen to a lot. So our audience will be happy to like hear your thoughts. So thank you so much for getting into the show.
Hey, thank you very much. Enjoy your journey.
Amazing for sure.
I'll see you.